Hi, welcome to the new series where we are covering AWS Solution Architect Associate questions. This is the part 1. So, needless to say, these are real certification questions. Please subscribe to my channel and like my videos. This channel is totally dedicated to help you clear AWS or Azure cloud certifications. There are also contents on Salesforce Tableau and Tableau CRM. These videos will ensure you clear the exam successfully. That's why I have mentioned 100% pass. I would strongly recommend you to go through this playlist. It covers the Solution Architect Associate questions, all real exam questions, and there are 14 videos. Please focus on the concepts explained in these videos. If you understand the concepts, even you yourself, even if you try hard, you cannot fail the exam. Hooray! Let's jump into the questions. Question number 1. You may pause this video, read it carefully. So suppose there is a company like Shutterstock, whose main business is to trade in pictures. You can sell and buy pictures on this platform, and there can be a variety of pictures. So this company Shutterstock is storing its photos on S3. Please remember, these are all static photos. Nothing changes in these photos. These are static photos. Okay. Now, what is the question saying? Reduce latency and cost. This is the key. And in order to do that, these are the 4 options. Let's go option by option. First, it says use NAT server in front of S3. So what does NATing do? It is a security feature. It converts the local IP to a global IP address if the packet is traversing outside. And if the packet is traversing inside, it converts the global IP address into the local IP address. Hence, this is wrong because it's a security feature. It's not a feature to reduce latency and costs. Option B suggests use CloudFront. That is what is required because it will help you reduce latency and cost. So if you see this, you securely deliver content with low latency and high transfer speeds. But where is the cost? Here, cut the costs. This is important. So this is the right answer, but still we should see option C and D. Option C says to use, this says use NLB in front of S3. It is not helpful here. See, load balancer is useful if you have multiple EC2 instances and you have load balancers. So if the loads are coming, the load balancer will decide whether it should be routed to EC2 1, EC2 2 or EC2 3. Here we don't have this scenario. We only have S3 bucket. Hence option C is wrong. Let's see option D. It says auto scaling. Auto scaling is used when you are using EC2 instances. If you have this structure EC2 instances, and if you want, if suppose the load increases, you can auto scale the EC2 instances. Auto scaling is not a feature of S3 bucket. Here the question is only about S3 bucket and you want to reduce the latency. It doesn't mean that you will auto scale here. This is wrong. Hence option B is the right answer. Let's move forward. Let's look at question number 2. So this is the question. Please pause the video here and read the question carefully. See, first read the question. Looking at the question, we are clear it is a EC2 instance question. See, we have EC2 instances. See, the storage of EC2 instances are EBS volumes. This is where it stores the data. See, the keyword here is consistent IOPS is required. So this is the key. Let's scan through the options. See, if you see the option, the first 2 options, it says throughput optimized SDD. It is never used for root volume. SDD is used for data volume, not root volume. This is the thumb rule. So this you should always remember, this thumb rule. So we are sure these 2 questions are wrong. Options are wrong. Now the answer has to be one of these, C or D. C says to use SSD as root volume, which is correct, and provision IOPS as data volume, which looks correct. D says use SSD as root volume and configure the applications to store its data in S3 bucket, which is wrong because EC2 instances will never store its data in S3 bucket. It will always store its data in EBS volumes. Okay, that's why C is correct and D is wrong. So now we have our answer. C is the right answer. Let's move to the next question. Question number 3. So please pause the video here, read it carefully, understand the keywords. See, the question is straightforward. There are various web servers and a database called RDS or RDS database is used to manage these web servers. And now you need a recovery point of less than 1 second. So what does RPO of less than 1 second mean? So if a data comes in this database, within 1 second, the data should also come in this database, whether it may be a replica or whatever. So that if this database goes down, so just like A goes down, then B will be up and it will be only behind by 1 second. That is RPO, recovery point objective. Let's look at the 4 options. The first option says use multi-AZ deployment for DB instances. So that means you should have two databases, one in one AZ, AZ1, the other in AZ2. This is a multi-AZ deployment. This looks correct. So this is correct. Now let's look at option B. Enable auto scaling for DB instance in one AZ. See, auto scaling is only for EC2 instances. Auto scaling doesn't work here. So if you go to one database instance, for example A, and you do auto scaling, it will not help here. What help it will provide? It will not give you the RPO of 1 second. This is wrong. Let's look at option C. Now let's look at this third one. Configure the DB instance in one AZ and create multiple read replicas in separate AZ. See, that means this is a DB instance in one AZ and here instance B, this is the read replica. See, read replica cannot give you 1 second RPO because to replicate the data, there will be some time lag. See, from the documentation I'm showing you, this is read replica and you see it is the RPO is in minutes. RTO is less than 5 minutes, but RPO is in minutes. But if you see multi-AZ deployment, RPO is 0. That means not even 1 second, less than 1 second also is there. Hence, C is wrong. D says configure the DB instance in one AZ and configure DMS, data migration service, change data capture tasks. This is not required. See, this is totally crap. DMS is totally crap. DMS, why it is DMS used? See, if you have to move data, this is on premises. This database is on premises. And if you have to move this data to AWS, then you use DMS. Do you have a use case for moving the data? No, there is no use case for moving the data. The use case is for RPO. Hence, D is also wrong. The correct answer here is option A, multi-AZ deployment. Let's move to the next question. Question number 4. So this is the question. You may pause the video here. It's a simple question for routing. Suppose there is a company called Intuit. It creates and hosts applications which are useful for tax filing or financial management. Its business is running web applications on AWS using 7 EC2 instances. So one instance, two instances, like this it goes up to 7 instances. And these 7 instances are used to host these web applications. So this is a simple routing policy question. And what it is saying is the policy routing. See, if I see the keyword DNS, keyword DNS, it gives me a multi-value routing policy. So let's evaluate the options first. Option A suggests simple routing policy. So if you see this documentation, multi-value answer routing policy, and this uses DNS queries. But the simple routing, if you see, it is primarily meant for single resource, so it will not work here. So we know A is wrong, C is right. Let's look at latency routing policy. See, you use this when you have resources in multiple AWS regions. In our question, there is no mention of multiple regions. That's why B is wrong. And the last one says geolocation routing policy. See, use this when you want to route based on the location of your users. If your user is in Sao Paulo, then the routing will happen close to that region. If the user is in London, then the routing will happen close to the servers which are based in London. So D is also wrong. We have our final answer as option C. Let's move forward to the 5th question. Question number 5. Pause the video here if you want to read this carefully. Okay, pause it, identify the keywords. See, the keyword is you are having a global applications. The subscribers are worldwide. So it's worldwide. For example, it is in Singapore, Australia, New York, and so on. So the users can access from any of these locations. So how is it hosted? There are numerous amount of EC2 instances which are behind ALB, that is the load balancer, application load balancer. Now, what happens is the CIO decides they want to limit some nations. Take just for example, Syria and Sudan. For example, these are the nations which the CIO doesn't want the website to be operated from, or the users should not be able to access from these nations. Primarily, maybe it can be anything. It can be some geopolitical issues where the country doesn't want operations to be going on there, or it can be fear of getting hacked. there are a lot of hackers, there are not much of rules and regulations with respect to IT. It can be any reason. So it can be, say, any one of these reasons or multiple reasons. Though, according to me, the entire world is should be like brothers. Okay, I do not see a reason why someone should ban someone, but obviously, as a global citizens, we should learn to behave. We should not engage in crime and so on. Now, which out of these four options will work? The first one says modify the ALB security group to deny incoming traffic from blocked countries. Now, one thing here it says due to change in copyright regulations, and the change in the copyright regulations can be any because of any of these factors. See, this option looks okay, but let's look at the other options first before we arrive at the answer. The second one says you modify the security group of the EC2 instances itself. Now we have got two options. First is saying you modify the security group to block the countries here at ALB level. Second one says you block it here. See, whenever you have such options, you should block it here itself, here, before that. And what comes before that? Option C, CloudFront, and that is where you should be blocking it. See, your EC2 instances are already in the private subnet. So blocking it at this level will be more beneficial than to allow the traffic to come to ALB or allow the traffic to come into EC2. Okay. So option C is the right answer. Please subscribe to my channel. Please note that this channel is dedicated to help you clear cloud certifications on AWS and Azure. Be excited for many more such videos with new questions. Please try to focus just on the concepts. Please go through my YouTube channel. You will see this playlist where I have put 14 videos which has real exam questions. These are still relevant. Please go through them as well along with these videos. This brings us to the end of part 1. We will see you in the next part. Till then, bye. Be tuned and excited for the next part.